Hello. Today I'm taking a look at some American Pinot Noirs. So I'm starting with a Willamette Valley Vineyards Estate Pinot Noir from 2021. I thought this would be an interesting wine for two reasons. Firstly, Willamette Valley Vineyards are well established. Jim Bernau, the founder, started them in 1983. He was a new graduate from UC Davis in California with an enology degree, and he set out and he crowdfunded to start his winery. So evidently these days he has somewhere in the region of 7,000 shareholders, which I should imagine is possibly a complex arrangement, but fortunately he's been successful, so I presume they're all happy shareholders. And secondly, that the wine is a blend of three vineyards within the wider Willamette Valley AVA. Firstly, their own estate vineyard in Turner, which is to the south of Salem, which is about 21 hectares, I believe, so a fair size. And then what they see as their top vineyard, which is the Tualatin Vineyard, which is in the Coast Range to the west of the Willamette Valley. That's quite a large enterprise, actually. That's about 65 hectares. Not all Pinot Noir, there's some Chardonnay there as well, and one or two other varieties, but predominantly Pinot. And then finally the Elton Vineyard, which is in the Tualatin Hills, which is slightly to the north of Salem, which is a rather cool site. So you've got differences in soil types. The mountain vineyards, for instance, are volcanic soils, so it's quite iron rich and it gives body, and then you've got the differing climates as well. So hopefully a wine that can show the spectrum of this particular part of Oregon quite well. What else can I say about this? I mean, the plantings, there's a reasonable array of clonal material going into this. So you've got classic Dijon clones, 114, 115, also slightly more modern ones, 667 and 777, and then there's a classic selection from Burgundy, the Pommard clone. The wine doesn't spend a particularly large amount of time in oak, it's about 10 months, and only 10% of that is new. I'm assuming it's French oak. I have no information as to whether stems are retained in this, although perhaps from tasting I think maybe a proportion of them might have been. And the wine has a number of certifications. I mean, for instance, it claims it's vegan friendly, so I'm assuming there's no fining going on there. It's also produced a set of standards that's salmon friendly, so they're trying to ensure there's no water pollution. And then they have a certification for live, so that's low input viticulture and enology. So that's a sort of a sustainable on the way to organic sort of set of certified practices for a winery. So let's have a look at the wine, shall we? First thing to say, the colour is quite typical for Pinot Noir. The pigmentation seems quite dark, but it's not actually that deep. I can very easily see my hand and the stem of the glass through the wine. There's a slight purple note to the otherwise ruby red, to the rim of the otherwise ruby red wine. As I swirl it, the wine actually shows quite quickly, shows some quite obvious tears running down the sides of the glass. It says it's 13.9% alcohol on the label, so that is not surprising that would be giving that body. Let's have a look at the aroma, shall we? Initially there's quite forward fruit, and I think of this as being sort of a plummy but in a sort of an almost velvety tone, and I don't know quite how I can smell a texture. I'm guessing it's that slightly dusty note that you sometimes get with old velvet, but there's a brighter, maybe a sort of a red cherry note of the fruit coming through there as well. But then overlaying all of that, you've got a tertiary developed note of I suppose it's slightly leathery. It's not dominating, the fruit can still come through, but I think that's partially to do with the stems, so which is why I think there may be a certain amount of whole bunch fermentation having gone on here, but I'm not sure of that. So let's have a taste, shall we? That's a lovely combination of freshness and richness. There is really lovely fresh acidity that's giving a brightness to the fruit that is lifting a sort of a red raspberry, red cherry note out of the fruit right on the start. It's counteracting the warmth of the alcohol on the mid palate. There's a very fine vein of slightly dusty tannin, dusty, grainy tannin, giving structure right through the middle of the wine. That gives a slight dustiness, almost slightly spicy note, but that is actually sort of giving an anise licorice, a delicate anise licorice note that's running through the middle of the wine. But then, as I say, the acidity is really good, and it's giving the wine nice length, because it's picking that red fruit, that fresh red cherry and hint of raspberry, and lifting it out of the wine at the finish, giving it some nice length. I don't think it's a particularly complex wine. It's got all its elements in nice balance, and its freshness and its beautiful fruit show really well. It's probably not going to age for more than about 4 or 5 years. It's balanced and it's drinking really nicely now. So yes, that's Willamette Valley Vineyards Estate Pinot Noir from 2021. I hope you found this interesting, and if you have, do please feel free to like and share, and I hope we'll see you again. Bye now.